You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Wepa! You know how we do. I'm your host, Al Mega, para que tú sepas, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. And today, folks, and ladies, I have an awesome guest. I mean, my man has 40 plus years in the entertainment industry, all right? He's been a wrestler, an actor, a comic book publisher creator, a musician, a philanthropist, I mean, this dude has done everything just about. Who am I talking about? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to introduce the one and only Brimstone.
What's poppin', Al Mega? How you doing, brother? Finally, Brimstone has made it to Comic Crusaders. Super excited, super stoked, bro. First and foremost, listen, brother, I'm so happy to be talking with New Yorker right now. Even though you might be, over in Florida, I'm still gonna keep you here at home in Big Bad NYC. You know what I'm saying? That's we got to do it.
I miss my bagels and cream cheese from the corner stand and my bacon, egg, and cheese because they really know how to make it on the road. I mean, I lived in Massachusetts, before moving out here to Florida. And Massachusetts and Florida do not know what a New York roll is.
No, they don't.
They give me hamburger rolls. I'm like, this is not what I asked for. What are you doing?
Nobody knows what New York bread is. Nobody knows what New York pizza. Nobody knows New York anything. You need to. If you're gonna have pizza, forget Italy. You need to come down to New York. You get yourself some pizza. You get yourself some bagels. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna throw out the New York accent a little bit here, but no. And by the way, love the fact that you're like "Wepa" right at the beginning, man. I loved it.
Come on, man. You know how we Puerto Ricans do. We're live and loud, especially from Brooklyn. You know what I mean? Come on now.
And my wife is Puerto Rican, so you know what I mean? I feel you, brother. I feel you.
Oh, no wonder. Yo, I started mentioning some foods about bodegas right before we started, folks. And he's like, yeah, I mean, you need them maduros so we could get them totones going on. He knows what's going on, bro.
See, there's nothing like going down to the cuchifrito and, having some delicious treats. See, that's what you're not getting out in Orlando. You need to come home, Papa. Come home, get some good eats. You know what I'm saying? Then you get hefty like me, and I've gotten a little bit thicker over the years. But it's probably because I'm sitting on my ass more often on radio as opposed to doing anything in ring. But that's besides the point.
But you've been killing it though on radio, podcasts, and everything. I mean, dude, you've had a 40+ year career. I mean, one of the things that I saw, I'm like, all right, here's Brimstone, this big dude. You are on Sesame Street in Romper Room? I'm like,
yeah. It's so funny because so many people are like, well, you don't look like you would have been on Sesame Street. First of all, I was 5 years old. So what do you mean what I look like? It's
I thought you were shaving then.
It's like, what are you talking about? But yeah, I did Sesame Street. I did Romper Room when I was a kid. That was my first taste of entertainment. Wow. And what's really crazy is my mother passed away about 3 years ago. Thank you. And what do you call it? I was just finally finishing cleaning out the house because we finally were able to sell it, after all this disaster of the pandemic. And, we finally did it. But while we were cleaning the stuff out, I actually found my old contract for Children's Television Network. So what do you call it? So I got that. And I actually found contracts with a couple of different agents that I had when I was a kid, and I had no idea that I was represented when I was younger. So my mother never even told me that. I knew that I went and I did auditions and stuff for like Rice Krispies and A1 and things like that back when. But I didn't know that I was actually represented. So yeah.
So let me ask that there then. Since you started that early, I mean, were your parents in the business?
So, okay, my father, he should have been a pro golfer. And he wound up and he, the family business was irrigation back in the day. And, my grandfather said, hey, I want you to do this. And so that kind of cut his golfing career short. And that was back in the day. He was playing with like Chichi Rodriguez and all these guys that, back then. Yeah. And they used to call him the hot dog guy, the Chichi. They used to remember because every time Chichi would get up, they would go get a hot dog. But
really,
that was one of the jokes that he always made. He's like, oh, great. He's like, great guy, real fun guy. He's like, but every time we went out, we went and got a hot dog. But it was a joke. But so he, what do you call it? But he always played guitar and sang. Like, he's an incredible singer. It's funny because I actually posted on Instagram. I never do this, but I posted. He did something. Sang some song and in his house. He's got like his piano and his guitar and all this jazz, and he sang something not too long ago. I don't remember what it was, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna throw him a bone and get him in front of my audience, and I put him up. Dude, he had like 30,000 views on the video. And everybody was giving such great feedback. Like,
no.
So my dad is an amazing singer, all self-taught with the guitar and the piano and all that.
Really?
But, he had been doing the entertainment thing years ago. Not to the extent that I do it, but that was a little bit of an inspiration of music. But my mother, she was oh, my son's cute, blah, blah, blah. Back then I was cute. Now I'm old and ugly. But they, what do you call it? She, what do you call it? She said, I can put him into, onto TV and into film and so forth. So, yeah, man, my parents were divorced, just mind you. So my mother did this on her own, and then she started bringing me into Manhattan, and because Long Island, we're only about 45 minutes on a good day, 10 hours on a bad day. But what do you call it, in and out of Manhattan? So she used to bring me in there, and I would do all the stuff and things. I would do everything with the with the agents, and then I would do the stuff with Sesame Street and Romper Room. Wow. And I don't remember anything else because it's just it was 5. So there's just so much I do remember and recall. But
of course, that
being said, eventually my mother and my father were starting to go head to head and headbutting in the fact that, I wasn't necessarily around on the days that my father was supposed to have me. And, so it was, regular BS that divorced people go through. And what do you call it? So that was the end of my acting career as a kid.
Really?
Yeah. So that was then. And then I found my first thing that I fell in love with was art. When I started getting involved in comic books, and I know you're a big comic book guy.
Okay, yeah. I gotta ask there though, what was when you started getting into comics, or what was the first character that you said, "Ooh, this is so dope"?
There are two. There are two. My two favorite characters. One was because of the cartoon, and one was because of the comic. So my two favorite characters are the Beast, which is the comic. Beast from the X-Men is my favorite character. I'm sorry if that's a letdown. But he was big, he was badass, and he was intelligent, and it was just I loved the character. And matter of fact, my nickname when I was a kid was Beast. So really? Absolutely loved the Beast. And what do you call it? And my other favorite character was Snake Eyes. And
I love Snake Eyes. Kid.
Funny enough, full circle. You know what I mean? Like years later, I'm friends with Larry Hama and what do you call it? Ray Park.
Wow,
who portrayed Snake Eyes in
the creator.
In the movies.
You chill with Snake Eyes' daddy and the person that portrayed him on screen.
Yeah,
man, bro.
Ray's one of my very dear friends. And what do you call it? Yeah, no, it's funny because I say to Ray all the time, I'm like, God damn it, it's the funniest thing because I always loved Star Wars. I've always loved Snake Eyes and G.I. Joe and what do you call it now? Yeah, he's Darth Maul and he's Snake Eyes. I was like, well, I guess it was meant to be, kid.
And
do you know that our birthdays are one day apart?
No,
our birthdays are one day apart. Fun fact. Yeah, I'm the 22nd. He's the 23rd.
Oh man, that's so crazy. Like, listen, what's funny within my family? I don't got no celebrities, but I found a long lost sister a few years ago. Right?
Oh wow.
Her birthday is the 23rd. My birthday is the 24th, and my nephew that's chilling here today, his birthday is the 25th. Oh wow. And even before that, two good friends that I grew up with, their birthday was April 22nd. Oh, so wow. It's like that Al Mega don't shine on his birthday. God damn, yo.
Well, what month? August?
April.
Oh, April. Okay. So and now and my son's girlfriend, her birthday is the same as mine.
Oh,
so she's got the same birthday, and then something else was going on. with Father's Day. I forgot what it was, but there's something else that crosses over.
Watch Father's Day. No one cares about us, guys. Come on.
That's what I'm saying. Father's Day, that's the most important day of the year. You know what I mean? Forget everything else. You got Father's Day. That's not really. Mother's Day is the most important day of the year. But
agreed there, man.
So, but at the end of the day, it's funny that in my career, everything's come, not everything, but almost everything's come full circle, and like the whole deal with comic books is I wanted to be a famous artist. I wanted to go out there, and I could draw, and I still do here and there, but I'm not like the boys out there now. You know what I mean? I haven't done it, like over that period of time. If I did, maybe that would have been the case. But I could draw. It's just not like to the level of what you need for Marvel, DC. Well, I should say Marvel because the DC is kind of slacking here and there. But that's really that's really DC. It's really the DCU, I should say. Actually, it says DC. The DCU is sucky. The comics are good. The comics are still good. Especially when you got guys like my buddy Greg Capullo. Is he still? I think he just stopped doing Batman, right? Did he just finish?
Yes, yeah, he stopped. Yep.
Yeah,
I think Greg is actually. Let me make sure.
Did he go back to Spawn?
No. Although that's funny you mention him because one day a question was put out there.
Okay.
Who is the best Spawn artist? Me, I love Spawn. That is my joint. You understand me?
Right.
That's my joint. But I love Todd. So for me, all respect due, Todd is the best Spawn artist. In my opinion, that's all it is.
Todd McFarlane.
Man, bro.
Todd is a very nice guy.
Mad.
Really?
Greg got mad at me. He got mad and he blocked me because of that comment. I mentioned it to Todd. I interviewed Todd a couple of weeks ago. And I mentioned that. So I was like, yo, Greg blocked me. It's because I said I liked your art more. I mean, I understand, but I'm just being honest as a Spawn fan. You can't kill me, But then I met him at a con. I think it was 2019, San Diego, if he was there or sometime. Then I got to see him. He saw my shirt. He was chilling right next to Scott Snyder. So I was like, hey, you remember me? He goes, yeah, I know you guys, but no problem. What's up? I was like, okay.
Capullo is one of the coolest, sweetest dudes ever. His wife is a doll. We've toured together many years, and haven't seen him in a hot minute. But what do you call it? One of the nicest guys and an incredible artist. I mean, look. I mean, if you're talking about. I'm a nostalgic type of a guy. I'm an old school type of guy. So when I like the originals, Todd McFarlane it's his character. And I think that, if he didn't do an amazing job, nobody would have fell in love with the character to begin with.
Yeah.
But look, don't sleep on Greg.
Never sleep on Greg. He's great.
Greg is just as good, if not better, in terms of artistry. Here's the thing. The only thing is that the creator put that extra love in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's all I got to say about that. I mean, you can't touch Greg with a 20-foot pole in terms of his art skills.
Greg is a monster.
He's awesome. Awesome.
Listen, again, it was no offense. I love his work, but I'm just saying, I just, dude, let me put it on widescreen. I mean, if you look up here, that's my Spawn.
Yeah.
I got more Spawns. I got Spawns in boxes over here. And in New York, my mama still has a box of my Spawn toys. That I got to tell my brother, like, don't open the box, just send it, please.
Yes. No, listen, Spawn's one of those characters that I absolutely have always loved. And, look, I'm a darker character myself. The Brimstone character in the ring and in the comics and in the animated, all that. It's a dark character. So you can tell where I pull inspiration from. And Spawn is one of those things. You know what I mean?
How do you go from Sesame Street romp room to saying, okay, I want to start kicking some ass in the ring?
That was a long time ago. Again, you're talking about there was so much that happened in between there. I mean,
you're my age group, my brother. So talk to me about the journey. I get it. I'm that 90s kid that grew up in Brooklyn. With my backpacks. Listening to Black Moon and my Wu-Tang and Biggie back in the day.
There you go. There you go. So I grew up, in Uniondale, New York. Familiar with Long Island, Uniondale. We had a lot of players that came out of Uniondale. It's aside from myself, it's the guys from Leaders of the New School. What do you call it,
bro? You went to high school with Busta Rhymes and Charlie Brown. I mean, get the hell out of here.
C Brown and Dinko, I still talk to this day. Dinko was just on the show literally maybe a month ago. And we talk as often as we possibly can.
So y'all were homies in school?
No, in school. I mean, we were around the hood, not in school. In school,
Okay.
I mean, I when I was out of elementary going into middle school, my mother pulled me out and put me into a private school. So which was complete culture
Okay.
shock because I was in Uniondale, I was one of the only white kids. So what do you call it? So, I'm used to being one of the only white kids, and like I'm a hip
You
hop
were the
kid.
minority for a change.
Yeah. And I was, but not only I'm a white Jewish kid. So, you've got
even worse.
Yeah. So what do you call it? But here I am. I'm rolling with everybody.
Awesome.
We see no color. You know what I mean? And
I know that's New York to me.
and well, not all of New York, unfortunately. That's a sad thing, but we won't talk about that.
No, I don't want to talk about that, but I will say this, that I think that's the difference between the rest of the country and people that grew up in the big city. We come from melting pots, so diversity is the norm. It's the norm.
Exactly.
But people that don't live in big cities like that, that's like, what are you doing? That's so foreign. Like, what?
It is what it is. But then I went from that into an all-white Jewish school, and it was like complete culture shock to me. Matter of fact, I was so out of place. I was a fish out of water because here I am, a hood kid. You know what I mean? Even though
you were the darkest person in that school.
in theory. And then it took me some time to a matter of fact, in order to be respected, I actually had to lay someone out. And it was because I was different. And back then, people, there's a reason why a lot of kids went to private school. You know what I mean? I went simply because my mother was trying to get me out of a potentially dangerous school, and I understand that. But I'm like, these are my friends, my family. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be all right. But she wanted to send me to a private school, and but some of these kids had problems, you know what I mean, where they were in the private school where they were misfits, so they were problem children. So when they went there, everybody's trying to run for supremacy, and everybody wants to be the big man on campus. And when I came in, I was different. Like I said, I was a white kid who was listening to all hip hop. Nowadays, white kids only listen to hip hop. You know what I mean? Like it's like a different animal altogether. But I came in, I spoke different, I walked different, I looked different, and and I wasn't taken in immediately. And then a couple of kids used to try picking on me, some of the older, bigger guys. And what do you call it? And but what they didn't know is, even though I was young, you know what I mean, it was going into middle school, I was already throwing down in the schoolyard. You know what I mean? You know how it is. You're from Crooklyn. You know what it is.
Listen, bro, 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock, schoolyard. I'm a beat your ass.
It's on. It's on. So, I was already well versed in how to take care of myself. And, so there's one kid kept getting in my face, and I took him and I literally threw him down a stairwell. And what do you call it? And then his cousin, who was a big dude, and we're cool now. This dude, he came years later. But he came up and he like grabbed me, and I freaking jacked him up and I tossed him too. And then I went down and I continued to jam on this freaking one kid's face. You know what I mean? And they broke it up, and then that was that. After that, people were like, "Oh, don't sleep on him." You know what I mean? Don't sleep on him. You know what I mean? And and then I got into a couple scraps here and there in that time. Like, it takes a long time to light my fire. You know what I mean? Like, I'm very patient. But once you get me to that point, it's like, come on, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have to go hood on you, but I will.
My wife, my daughter, my mom, they all know the sign that I've had enough. Like, I'm very patient as well. But once I go, once I do that, the USA is not peace, though. USA means like, I'm done. I'm gonna hit you now. And I've done that. It's like, okay, it's like, yo, get away. I talk. I try to be peaceful. I don't listen. Especially when I'm out with family, the last thing I want to do is scare them.
Right. No.
But
here's the thing.
When I lose,
you don't want them to fear you. You don't want them to fear you out. You want them to respect you.
Yes,
you know what I mean? And there's a very big difference and a fine line, and people don't understand that. When you get loud and you need to get loud, you have to get loud. And that's, out of you need to be respected. You know what I'm saying?
But that's the thing about me. I won't come at you loud.
Yeah.
The perfect example is one time many years ago, I went to a party with wifey.
Yeah.
And, you know, me and wifey, we stick together like glue. How to use the restroom. I come back and I see homie talking to wifey. Not a problem. I'm not a jealous man. She's a beautiful woman. But he was kind of being pushy about dancing and shit, right? So, you know, see that he was bothering me about dancing. So then I get up again and get a drink, and then he goes back to try to push up on her. So then I sit between them. I'm like, you okay, homie? Is there a problem here? And then he goes, you don't gotta act so tough. Those were his words. I said, what? I mean, bro, you have no idea yet. You should just do me a favor. Just, you know, you had too much to drink. Step away. Then he goes, why you acting like that, yo? Why you acting like that? Yeah, I just looked at my wife and I took the heavy breath. She goes, oh, shit. She looked at my brother-in-law like, grab him. I just got up and, yo, bro, I don't know where I got the strength from, but I did kind of an uppercut push. I grabbed his chest plate. This mother must have flown like 6 feet. My brother-in-law just grabbed me. Stay cool. I'm like, I'm cool. It's only going to be bad for him if he comes for me.
Yeah.
If he retaliates now it's going to be bad. So if you don't stop him, you're not going to be able to stop me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's what it is. What I'm saying is, like, you know, respect is exactly what it is. Respect. There's a level of respect, and please don't cross the line, especially when you're forewarned.
You're nice. You're nice, Al, because if somebody looks at my wife funny, I will get in their face.
I have a goal.
I don't cross my. I don't. When you don't cross the line with my wife. Or my family or my friends. You know what I'm saying? Like,
man, that's my order. My family, you know, my friends, my money, and my food. You kind of get in the way. Yeah, bro. If you try to interrupt one of my fucking meals, bro, that I'm digging, you got a problem.
I've dropped people for less, so
I'm sure.
It's funny because I have some stuff being done at my house right now, which I can talk about off air. I can let you know why. But what do you call it? It's all positive things, and it'll be out there eventually. Right now it's NDA'd. But what do you call it? It's funny because some of the workers. We're having a conversation, and they're asking me about certain things, and and I'm reminiscing about certain things and talking about something happened, and I had to drop this one, or I did this, or and then it's just like, tell us more, sir. Tell us more. I want more. It's like, no, man. Look, you shouldn't have to want to get physical with people.
No, you don't.
You know what I mean?
You don't want that. That's the last resort.
The positive is, look, I'm a nice guy. I'm a gentle, big guy. You know what I mean? Where, I don't have to, I can intimidate if I need to, and I'll steer clear of the fighting. But if you really want to get, don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? Don't get it twisted. If you push me, I'm going to do damage. Not only did I grow up with it, maybe it's Maybelline. No, I'm just kidding. Wait, no. Maybe I grew up with it. No free ads. What do you call it? When I grew up with, and I know, from back when, I know how to fight, and I'm also well trained because pro wrestling that's not fake. Okay,
it's not.
It's staged. All right, but it's not fake.
Yes, I love that. You're so right. Staged is the word. It's not fake. It's staged. My brother was a backyard wrestler doing some underground stuff in Queens. Back in the day.
Right.
And let me tell you, he invited me one day to watch, and there I am, just watching it. And back then I had, massive piercing. Like, I looked very intimidating. So I'm seeing my brother get touched. Let me tell you, I felt like jumping into that ring.
Yeah.
Because I saw him get really hurt. I was like, yo, after the fact, like, yo, you all right?
Backyard wrestling is real because they don't know what they're doing.
No, bro, that's what I'm saying. I was like, are you sure? Like, here we do the Rey Mysterio move. That's what's one of his moves. He's a skinny Puerto Rican kid. You know what I mean? So he's very flexible. Right. And I'm seeing him do that. Like, yo, I'm proud of him. He's doing his thing. He had the personality. But I'm like, but bro, they don't got insurance, bro. Please. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I've spoken out about backyard wrestling, so that's how I feel about that. I mean, you shouldn't be doing it in the backyards. Find yourself in a classroom. You know what I mean? Learn the right way.
Insurance.
Well, and here it is because when you're in the ring, okay, and you're trained, you're learning how to not kill someone. You know what I'm saying? That's the point. So yeah, I can sit and I can power bomb you, in the industry. You know what I mean? Or I can power bomb you for real, and I have. And and the fact of the matter
Really?
is, oh yeah, I have stories, man. What do you call it? Where one of my partners and I had an issue with some people while we were on the road, and what do you call it? We literally did our finishing move on a guy through a table.
Oh my God, I wish I was there.
And the
I would have
table,
bought you a beer.
the table wasn't fixed. It was one of the
Oh,
rounds,
man.
so the person was not getting up right after. But it when I tell you, wrestlers are not soft people, you know what I mean? And people like to pretend, oh, it's not real, and people like to try to get tough and get in your face. It's like, bro, look, my hand is bigger than your head. That's first and foremost. Second of all, I've got a size 11.5 foot, and if you don't step the hell off, I'm gonna shove it squat up your ass. And some people
I love it.
Some people don't put two and two together. It's like, just because I don't choke somebody out for real on in the ring and on screen doesn't mean that I don't know how to do it off screen, and I will choke you the hell out. Back in the day when I had my school, and I would was teaching the boys, and you'd have these guys, these 6.5 foot monsters that would come in, and these are big dudes, and they're not used to being taken off their feet. So people come in and they're they've got this, some of them have this like attitude about them. Bro, I'd put them to sleep. I would chuck right on the carotid artery, put them to sleep, and let them go. And then they, and wake up and, oh my God. So it's like, listen, don't screw with people who are trained. And to be completely honest, fighters, if you're a real fighter and you're a real, and you're back to the whole respect thing, you're a respectful person, you're not going out to hurt the other person. You know what I'm saying? And you're not going to start fights, and you're not going to start crap. You know what I mean?
We hope not.
And there are certain people that, like, look, I there's so many times that people have tried to pit me against boxers, other wrestlers, other types of fighters. I'm like, why? Why would I want to fight this guy? He did me no wrong. Why would you want to start a fight between him and I? And the funny thing is most of them have been trained very well, and they go, you're absolutely right. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're absolutely right. Like, why would I want to fight him?
At the end of the day, though, I do not want to see Brimstone beat the shit out of one of those Paul brothers.
Yeah.
Unlike Mayweather.
The man. Well,
that was the clowny thing, bro.
I don't want to sleep on the what is it? Jake Paul or Logan Paul? Who's the one who's doing the fighting? Jake Paul?
It's both of them.
Both of them are fighting?
Yeah.
Because I know the one of them is taking it very seriously. He is,
but Logan is the one that's taking it serious. I think he's the one that Logan, Mayweather.
Okay, he's taking it seriously, so I got to give him that. I have no respect for that guy whatsoever. I think that he's a clown. But at the end of the day, he's young. He's in the gym. He's working with and training.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sleep on him. You know what I mean? Could I go one-on-one against him? I don't know. I'm 46. You know what I mean? He's 20 something, right? You know what I mean? So, you've got just so much experience, but a 46-year-old body is going to give out well before a 20-year-old body. So,
unless you hit him hard first.
Well, there you go. I know where to hit and how to hit, but but I'm not gonna sit and pretend, like, I'm the end all be all. I know what I have to do to get it done if I needed to. And that's it. And am I going to win every fight? Probably not. But I'm also, I'm not out there looking for fights. You know what I'm saying?
You shouldn't. You should not, because, dude, you're like, you're the next Howard Stern. You're going to be a king of all media because, bro, you've done everything. You laugh, but don't be humble, my brother. You have done stuff. I mean, TV, movies, acting, voice acting, video games. Yeah. I mean, podcasts. I mean, you've got, at one point, you're the host of the Grindhouse Radio, right? On iHeart, top 20 committed podcasts with a high point being number 6.
Yeah.
Your podcast gets 3.5 million to 4 million downloads, not a month, folks, a week.
Yeah.
Like, bro, how do you do this? What tips can you give us here, bro? Because I'm trying to reach that point. It's like, what is it? What's the secret sauce, my brother?
Listen, I mean, first and foremost, I mean, I'm unapologetically authentic, and and I hope that comes out when I talk and when I have conversations, whether it's, a fun back and forth like we're having here, or something that we're talking about business or in the industry or whatever it is, just chopping it up. I hope that people can gather the fact that I am authentic and I wear my heart on my sleeve, you know what I mean? And that comes across, people are drawn to that. They can empathize with you on certain situations, just like you and I are talking. You're like, hey, I'm from the same place, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I,
we're the
I
same
feel
age,
you.
brother.
It's like, I feel you, dog. You know what I mean? I'm there with you, and you can put yourself in my position because you can empathize with that. I'm not a little rich kid who came out and had everything handed to him. You know what I mean? I busted my ass and worked my ass off to get to where I am. I've had people that have talked it to me, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to curse. I know you can curse here, but without laying it out there, they're talking a bunch of smack to me and tried to knock me down all along the way, but you have to be able to take it, move that to the side, not care, which I don't. Matter of fact, I think it's funny. It's very amusing when people talk smack about me, because it's like, well, you could say whatever you want. The proof is in the proverbial pudding, and I'm doing things you're not. But that's,
and the whole point is you're talking about me, so there's something I'm doing.
Right. Talk about me more, because, all you're doing is advertising for me.
Press is press, baby.
It is what it is. But the biggest thing that I got to say to anybody who's doing, anything creative, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's comics, podcasts, film, indie, or indie, anything, being an entrepreneur, just create for yourself. Create for yourself. Don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about what people are saying. Don't worry about what people are doing. Create for yourself. And from there, you'll then develop your people, your following. People will then come to you. Is it going to happen right away? No, it's not going to happen. When you want instant gratification, you've already lost. When you're looking at the numbers, oh my God, how many things do I have today? No, you've already lost. Now you're fighting against yourself. Don't worry about it. Just create for yourself. A lot of people, like in the podcasting world, a lot of people get, podcast burnout, where they, they're like, oh, I'm not getting enough people. They're not paying attention to me. And, oh, it's just a podcast. And I don't. Well, then what do you need to do to fix that? You know what I mean?
My God. Bro, the Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes podcast network has produced over 900 podcast episodes since we started.
There you go. It doesn't stop. The thing is one, don't get into it because you're trying to be rich, okay? Because it doesn't happen like that. You're lucky if you get something there, but that picks up. But let me tell you something. All these people that you say, oh man, it's an overnight success. Guess what, dude? They've been working. You didn't see the last 20 years of them hustling and busting their asses to get to where they are. Now there is a new thing with, now in the world of social media, where you've got the, TikTok and this and that, and people are shaking their asses to get millions of followers. But that's only going to last so long. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying, bro. I hate
There's no legacy. There's no meat behind it. It's great and it's awesome and it's a quick, you know what I mean? Something, but you're going to be working in a gas station or a retail outlet after that.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to maximize what you're doing and build it into a brand and so forth. Now, I'm not sleeping on the people that do that. It's a lot of work putting out content every single day, and I get it. And listen, completely.
But I see silly content, though. I see silly content get to a point that just viral.
Yeah.
And then they get blessed. No hate, good on you. But,
it is what it is.
But how long will that last, though? I mean, I'm trying to create something that's going to last, with Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes, a legacy, if you will.
That's right.
I don't care how long it takes, Wifey's on my ass, I'll be honest. Oh my God, is you've been doing this for a minute. I'm like, yeah. But in 2006, I went to the store. In 2014, economy hit us very hard, and since 2014, I changed the narrative of Comic Crusaders to be what I'm doing now. You know, a showcase for independent, for creators of all walks of life to come on, and share stories, or I could share their content, whatever. So she said, why don't you be the bleeding cool of comics? I said, I don't want to be a gossiper. That's like the TMZ. I don't want to do that. I want to show positivity.
Right.
So this is why, I took the endeavor I'm taking, and it's been a long journey. But do I give up? No.
No.
I continue because you know what? I love what I'm doing. I'm having fun with it, and I've met people on a worldwide scale. Like a shout out to my whole Comic Crusaders team. I have people from the UK. Johnny Hughes, one of my longest Comic Crusaders. You know, thousands. I'm talking about thousands of submissions to Comic Crusaders. He's my, EIC. He's a partner in that. He's a partner on the cover capes. 'Cause I bless people that work with me. Like, yo, if you down with me, I'm gonna bless you. So that way, when the day comes to win, we all win together.
You do, just so you're aware. I don't know if you know this, but my partners in the Grindhouse Radio, my co-hosts and my partners in the business, they were they started as my interns.
As interns,
they started as my interns.
Wow.
So what do you call it? So wow. I believe in bringing people up with me, and
me too, bro.
And it's very important. And I think that's old school hood. You know what I mean? Like, you bring your people with you, you bring your family.
Mi gente, bro, mi gente, ven conmigo. Yeah, I get it,
man. So like,
I love it.
For me, it's very important to do that. You don't want to teach everything, you know what I'm saying, but you want to make sure that you
listen. We don't want to fish for them, but if we teach them to fish, because listen, I've had many members and former members say, "Yo, Al, thank you for inspiring me." You know what I mean? If they gone ahead and doing their own thing, and I have team members that are creators in their own right, doing their own thing, and I just love sharing because, again, this community is very unique. I mean, you got Hound Comics. You started a comic book press, right?
Yep.
And in 2010, and since 2010, you have launched 40 plus creator-owned projects.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, thank you for feeding the talent and giving them an opportunity to display their wares. I mean, so obviously this is a comic show too. We're talking your career and beating people up, and I love it as a New York 90s, motherfucker.
Right.
At the end of the day. But
thugonometry there.
Yeah, let's talk about that though. What's Hound Comics and why are you so passionate about helping the independent community?
Because I am one of those people who when you get when you've had the door slammed on you, when you're in entertainment, especially for as long as I have, you have doors slammed on you plenty of times, and people don't give the opportunities, and everybody does deserve an opportunity. You have to have talent, but you also have to have that opportunity. Somebody gave me that opportunity before. So, I would like to open the door and give opportunity to other people. So now I will give you just enough, rope, you know what I mean, to help you succeed, or you're going to hang yourself with it. So that's, once I give you that opportunity, you're going to do one or the other.
You either roll with it or you don't,
or you're going to choke to death. You know what I mean? Right. So a lot of people, and what people don't realize when they want to get into this game, especially, comics and things like that, is they don't understand how much work and how much effort goes into it. And not only does the effort go into the creation of said product, then it goes into the promotion of said product while you're still getting ready and preparing for the second book. You know what I mean? So it's like a constant grind that a lot of these young players don't realize. You know what I mean? They don't realize that this is a hard industry to do. You know what I mean? And with Hound, we built it around the fact that we will help. We will give you your opportunity. We'll put the name behind it. And what do you call it? But it is all creator owned. So, like I have no say in what goes in the books to a certain extent. And I also, because there's certain things that I can't have. Of
course. You got to set a limit to your label, because if you allow everything, then it becomes a Wild West show. That's not what you want. You want to bring a certain aesthetic to the product.
Exactly. And then the other thing is that, what do you call it? Like, I don't own any of that IP. It's all yours. You know what I mean? All I'm handling is printing the books and making sure that you have an opportunity to get this done and kind of take some of it out of the equation for you.
So you guys help with the printing and distribution of the titles?
Yeah, well, we did the distribution for a while, and the problem is here's the thing: there's a lot of indie artists, as great as they might be, and as awesome as they are, and as friendly as I am with all of them, they don't get things done in time. So, like when you say, all right, well, you've got you have a monthly book or a bi-monthly book, you know what I mean, or a bi-weekly book or whatever it is, you have to stay on that. You know what I mean? On that schedule. If you don't stay on that schedule, now I can't sell advertising into your book because guess what? Your book's not out. I can't get you the distribution that you'd like in comic stores and so forth because you are not getting your product out in time. So that's one of the issues that, a lot of indie, I'm not talking even about Hound, I'm talking about in general. This is what they fall into. So, when the reason why Brimstone and the Border Hounds was so successful was because not only did I make sure I had the first 4 books out before we launched. We had them all done. We had them all done and ready. And what do you call it? And then the first book, I was like, how can we do it big? I want to show how big my cojones are. And I was like, let me figure out, what we got to do. So we wound up launching in Barnes and Noble. In Borders Books. You know what I mean? So we launched it in Borders Books. I did a signing at Borders Books. Now, given I have a name already, you know what I mean? That helps. But but even if you have nothing going on, aim big, aim high, do something bigger. You know what I mean? You have to make a splash.
Preach.
So I we did it in Borders Books. When Borders was starting to close down, I pulled from Borders, and guess what I did? I went into Barnes and Noble. You know what I mean? So then we were the only independently owned and operated comic in every Barnes and Noble and B. Dalton in the country.
Wow.
And what do you call it? And we were there. It was Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, Image.
You got Viz Media. You got the manga you're competing with too. Yeah, those stores, because that's what kind of that's the female comic shop, if you will, the Barnes and Nobles type. You know what I mean?
And it was, but here's the thing is, and this is the reason why a lot of people, the local comic shop is not going to take my book, and they don't want to run with my indie book because they don't like indies. Bro, that's not the case. The reason why they don't take your book is because they've been burned so many times in the past where they go, I want to give this guy an opportunity. I want to give them a shot. But guess what? They don't get their books out. So now everybody's coming and asking for the book that I don't have because you haven't put it out yet. So, you know what I mean? The fact is
so right.
It's how are they going to take 500 first issues of books and then issue 2 never comes out? You know what I mean? It's a problem. So what happened was a lot of people, they think that their book is going to come out and it's going to be the next best thing since sliced bread, but they don't want to put the work in. They don't want to go to the conventions and sign. They don't want to promote. They don't want to do interviews. Everybody is afraid of interviews, and they don't even buy their own books. So, there's just so much you could do for people that work like that. And, at the end of the day, the reason why I opened Hound was by accident.
I said accident, folks.
It was an accident. To be completely honest, the way it started was if you want to know, otherwise I don't have to tell you the story.
I want to know right now. Okay. Come on, bro. I mean, you said accident. I need to know. What type of accident opens up a publishing press?
I wanted to do the comic, and I had reached out to Image, I reached out to Dark Horse, I reached out to a couple of friends that I had at Marvel, and we didn't get any response from Marvel, even though I knew Bob Saboni back in the day. And
really? And nothing from Bob? Wow.
I didn't hear anything back. An Image, passed, and Dark Horse. I believe either they passed or they didn't respond, and I was like, you know what, I've got name value, I've got this going on, I got that going on. I'm just gonna do it myself. So I wound up creating. I said, all right, well, Brimstone and the Border Hounds, so Border Hound Comics. And what do you call it? And everything I do, by the way, is all tied together in one way, shape, or form.
I love it.
Which is a story in itself. But Hound Comics, and we put the 3 main characters on the up there, and made it look nice, and all of a sudden we printed out the books, and we had our 1 through 4, and mini series before we did the regular series itself. But we had 1 full story arc and 4 issues, and we were ready to go. Had my kids book because I wanted with the Border Pups out. So the Border Pups is the comic characters, except watered down for the kids, and this way the parents and the kids can vibe to the same characters. You know what I mean? And it's fun for everybody. And I'm sitting, and I was like, all right, I got to start doing conventions again and start signing. So and doing promotion. So I wound up doing, I think it was like Gotham Con. I forgot what it was. It was in Manhattan, and what do you call it? They put me in the room, and I wound up being next to a couple of old
What
friends.
hotel was it?
I don't remember what it was.
It wasn't. I'm not familiar with Gotham, but I know Big Apple Comic Con was at a Mike Carbonaro.
It wasn't Carbonaro.
Not in Pennsylvania.
No, because I would have known it was. I would have known that it was.
Okay.
Because I've done all his shows, for years. I know Carbonaro well.
Yeah, he's a character.
Yeah, Mike is a different animal altogether.
Yes, he is.
So for quite so I don't remember which show it was. I know we were in a building and it was like not the normal layout, and because it wasn't like a huge to do, but it was a couple of players were there, and I was in the celebrity room, and they put me next to old friends of mine, which were Peter and Angie Mayhew. And
my God, no
fucking
way.
So if you don't know who Peter Mayhew is, it's he was Chewbacca from Star Wars. He passed away, and that killed me. But I'm friends with I'm friendly with the family, and I've known Pete and Angie for many years. And what do you call it? So we were at the event, and Angie and I were talking, and Pete was doing his thing, and Angie says to me, she goes, Brim, like Pete's been wanting to put out his books. We were dealing with another publisher. They kind of screwed us a little bit. And she's like, I love what you're doing with your comics and your kids' books and so forth. Would you be interested in doing putting out our books? I'm like, well, I would need to see more. What are you talking about? And then she showed me the books she had. They had the two kids' books. What do you call it? That they were looking to kind of put back out because they had it out for a hot minute, but the guy who was handling stuff kind of did them wrong. And what do you call it? So I was like, all right, so I said, let me think about it. And I said, well, I guess it's time to incorporate. And what do you call it? I wound up going, and Hound Comics Inc. was born. Hound Entertainment Group, and in the underneath the group, it was Hound Comics, Hound Kids. You know what I mean? Hound Foods, blah 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 blah, and I have all that underneath the Hound Comics label. Now that being said, what do you call it? So I wound up being the only company to have and I have the letter from Lucasfilm, the only company that was allowed to have Chewbacca in the books without paying them residuals.
Whoa!
Which was
you serious?
Yeah. And I have it. I still have it. So I don't have the books under me anymore. But what do you call it? But because they
the fact you got that though, that's crazy.
Yeah. So we have that, and and then they had redone a couple of things in the book, and they actually put me in one of the books, and which was very sweet, and they didn't need to do that, but that was my family, and what do you call it? And I was just, again, I was doing it as a favor, and then once we did that, what do you call it? Now all of a sudden, friends of mine from Disney and Nickelodeon and all these other people were like, "Hey, Brim, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think?" I was like, "All right, fine." So then I wound up starting to publish their books, and I became a hub for a bunch of these people, and and then I had a bunch of comic book, people that were just like a lot of artists that really wanted it to get this stuff out there. And I was like, "Man, your stuff is awesome. I have no problem putting it out." And some people got their stuff out, some people they never did. I had agreements with people that never put stuff out. You know what I mean? Which was sad. Especially since the stuff was so amazing. As a matter of fact, one thing it was by accident. You know what I mean? Like, had I not sat next to Pete and Angie, that wouldn't have started that whole situation. So I opened Hound Comics Inc. because of the Peter and Angie asking, hey, can we do something? So I went from the DBA, I was doing business as what do you call it, the Border Hounds, and then I wound up taking it and I flipped it into Hound Comics Inc. So so that was how Hound Comics was born, and it was a very cool thing, and it was a lot more to bite off than I anticipated, but it was okay. See, now back in the day, with stuff that's not in my bio, there's a ton of things that I've accomplished and I've done that's not in my professional quote unquote entertainment bio. You know what I mean? But I've worked for major publications. I worked for Newsday here on the island. I was high
Newsday. Really, I remember that I remember that newspaper.
I worked for the Village Voice's Long Island Voice. What do you call it? Which was their sister company.
That Village Voice. Most people used to pick it up just to look at the hookers at the back of the page.
There you go.
Pages.
Long Island Voice. I handled all their entertainment stuff. So that So I knew publishing, you know what I mean? I did publishing when I was in my band and I did music. I knew all the bars and clubs. So like I said, everything kind of goes hand in hand. I knew how to guerrilla market. I knew how to do this. I knew how to do that because I started doing it when I was a kid, you know what I mean? Playing in bands. So, it's just crazy how things turn out. And so Hound was a mistake that was a beautiful mistake. And
I
you know,
love it.
would
Beautiful
I have
mistake.
would I have done some things, differently? Of course. But for the most part, I would have kept it very, very similar. The biggest thing that I would change, if anything, would have been just some of the some of the people that I brought in to work with me. You know what I mean? Though that's where you have issues. It's not, like a book. A book can't do anything to you. A product can't do anything to you. Products you can take and mold and make and do with what you need and have it, have success, or it fails. And guess what? You take those failures and use them as seeds of to succeed.
Yo,
Um, you know,
Brimstone, you're so right there because again, at the end of the day, you got to learn from your mistakes.
right.
That's where real growth is. And what are the lessons learned from those errors you've made? How can you make it better and correct it in
Yeah.
order to be able to, move forward?
Right.
Again, people don't be afraid of failure because at the end of the day, that actually opens the door to opportunity when you really think about it. But again, you got to take that moment. You can't get frustrated. You can't let emotions get the best of you.
Right.
So, before we have a couple of more minutes left, Brimstone. So, how do you feel about that comment though? Is it true? Don't let the emotions get the best of you in order for you to be able to succeed with your product.
Yeah, you can't let emotions get the best of you. But here it is. You have to love what you're doing. You have to love what you're putting out, because guess what? It is a labor of love. Any of these things that you do, anything in entertainment, anything entrepreneurial, is a labor of love. You have to love it in order to put that work into it. If you don't love it and you don't put the work into it, and you don't nourish it and you don't feed it, it's not going to be anything. You know what I
So
mean?
true.
So what do you call it? So it's just it's
So
if
true.
you it depends on your levels of love. You know what I'm saying? When you love a woman, right? You love a woman, you might date her for a while, you guys fool around, you start getting a little more intimate. The more you know them, the more intimate you get. Eventually, you fall in love with this person. You know what I mean? Now you fall in love with this person, and now you're thinking marriage and so forth. You got to think of it the same way. Then after when you have you get married, now you might be thinking about kids, you know what I mean? Or maybe do it out of order. That's up to you. But what do you call it? But
It's
now
New York, definitely
yeah,
out of
yeah.
order.
You have, now you're having kids, and with this person, you know what I mean? Think of it the same way with products. I have an idea, that I don't know if this idea is going to work, just like a relationship. I don't know if this relationship's going to work. I don't know if it's going to work, but I really like this idea. So let's
Yeah.
start this relationship, you know what I mean? And start this product up. And now this product is going, and what do you call it? And it's looking pretty good. I'm starting to really love this product. You know what I mean? Now I'm thinking it needs to be out in the market. So now I'm putting it out into the market. I've committed to this relationship. You see what I'm saying? See where
Oh yeah.
it's the same thing as a relationship. I've committed to this relationship. Now I'm gonna go a step further, because I really really love this product. So now I want to start doing a little bit more, and I want to invest a little money into it, or invest more money into it, or more time, and so forth. And now just like putting a ring on somebody's finger, right? Am I wrong? No,
No,
right?
you're not though. You're like on the money. That's exactly
Every,
what it is because it's
everything
total commitment.
everything's going well, right? Now you're married to the product. All right, you're married to the wife, you're married to the product. Now the product needs to expand. You need to do bigger things.
Yes.
Maybe you need to do X, Y, and Z. You need to make sure that you want to make sure to capitalize on that product. Just like with the marriage, you want to, I hate to say capitalize, but you want to have children. You want to spread
Yeah,
your
yeah.
seed. You want to, you know what I'm saying? So like,
Yep.
you like that, but
Yeah, I love that, bro. If I use
so
capitalizer with my wife, I'm probably gonna be sleeping in the car tonight.
but you know what I'm saying, like, in terms
I
of,
get
like,
you.
now you're spreading your seed, you're building your family, just like you're building your business. You build your family business. You see how it all works together. You know what I mean? So now you have children. Well, the same thing with your product. Well, now that product, maybe you want to have something that works along with your product, whether it's a comic book, maybe you want to do a second series, or
Yeah.
you want to do the toy line, or you want to do
Yep.
the animated. It's
Preach.
all the same thing. Different. You got to think of it as a relationship. You have to think of it as a business. A lot of people that do indie stuff, that's what they think. They think of it, well, it's indie. No, it's your freaking business. Make sure that you're thinking of it as a business and you put in 200%. Because if you don't put 200% in and you don't love your business and you don't work on your business, guess what? Nobody else is going to do it either. So when you asked me earlier, why do you get this amount of listeners and why do people pay attention to what you're doing? The answer is simple, because I treat it like my business, and because it is my business, and I treat it like I would my family. You know what I mean? I take it and I build it and I nourish it and I make sure that it's fed. I make sure that it's changed when it needs to get changed. I know where I have to go, and if something's not working in one direction, I figure out, okay, let's take 2 steps back so we can take 10 steps forward. And that, my friend, is why I am successful in the stuff that I do, is because I take failure as a badge of honor. I use those failure seeds in order to plant and rebirth the new and move forward 10 steps. And I love it. That's where I've how I've gotten to where I have. And no BS, no, oh, you cheated this area to get here. No, bro. I worked 40 years. I started at 5 years old. So, I've worked in the industry for 41 years. And I've seen a lot of shit, pardon my French. I know you've been cursing, but I haven't. But I've seen a lot, and I've learned, where, how things should be. And I hope that helps. So, if anything, just believe in yourselves, work twice as hard as the next person. And even if they're talking smack, even if they can't handle your success, guess what, mama, papa, guess what? It's just because they're jealous of sitting in your shade. You know what I'm saying? That's it. They're not getting a suntan because of my awesomeness. Yeah, that's it, man. Like, they're sick of standing in your shining bright light, and that's the thing. If people, and this is like a worldly thing now, like, if people stopped hating on each other and people started, supporting each other, or don't even support, just keep your mouth shut. Don't bother. Why? Yeah. Why do you have something to say about what X, Y, or Z is doing? We're from New York, bro. Do it yourself. We have had so many people that have come up from nothing from here in New York. We've come up with nothing. And we've built ourselves into something that's bigger and better and badder than most people that have come from something. And the reason why is because we respect everything that we have. We respect the time that's put in and the effort that's put in. And we don't try to take shit from other people. You know what I mean? I've never tried to step on someone else's head in order to succeed. I've done it myself. I don't need to. But when you're in a position like I'm in, you have plenty of people that try to take your success and try to ride on coattails and step on your head and try to do whatever they can. So you know what? For the people that are trying to get into the industry, have thick skin. Watch the dogs that you're lying with, because you don't want to get fleas. Make sure that you understand entertainment in general and entrepreneurship in general. It's a dog eat dog business, and you're wearing milk bone underwear. Okay, just expect everybody's coming at you. All right, and just don't take no for an answer. You want to make it happen, make it happen. I got no for the comics. I said, okay, I'll do it myself. And I did it better. And I said the same thing with Grindhouse. I know everybody in my area. I know every terrestrial radio station in this area in New York on Long Island. And they've interviewed me. I know these people for years. When I said I want to do a show, I heard nothing but crickets. So I said, well, I'm going to do it myself. The Grindhouse Radio was born. Why the Grindhouse? Because I'm always grinding. I'm always working hard. It has nothing to do with horror. It has nothing to do with, badassery. It's just a cool name, but it's the House of Grind. That's it. Doesn't have to do with that 70s movie crack. No. So what do you call it? And now what do we do? We started as a 1-hour show. Then iHeart had come to us. It's not like now where it's easy for people. They came to you. They came to me. Wow. What do you call it? I have plenty of things that I can tell you about. I have another interview in 15 minutes. No worries. But what do you call it? But they, we were in bed with them. We were in bed with Google for a long time, which I can't. I can tell you about stuff, but we don't have enough time to get into that. But we'll have a part 2, brother, because. Let's wait, bro. I just want to say, Brimstone, you are like ambitious, successful, hungry
even at this point, you still, me listening to you, like my appetite is just growing.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you for that. I
And it
want to
should.
thank you for that because you're inspiring me, my brother. You are doing the business.
Thank you.
mean, I would love to have you back on to continue in the story of your journey.
Of course.
You know, we've been on for an hour. I want you to have a 15-minute break before your next one because I know how it is as a creator that you need that moment.
I did want to finish up that one thought though. If that's
definitely.
Okay, Al.
Go ahead.
So so about the whole thing with the radio stations and so forth that I got crickets, right? I had crickets. Once we went to iHeart and iHeart brought us on, we went to a 2-hour format. And from 2017, 18, 19, and 20, we were voted and awarded best radio station on Long Island for the last 4 years. So we beat every one of those terrestrial radio stations. So that being said, all they would have had to do was give me the opportunity and respond, and I would have brought them the world. And now it is what it is. So, so the fact is you can do it yourself and be successful. You don't need one of the big corporations. You can build a corporation for yourself. And another thing that I want to leave everybody with is what do you call it? If you're going to start a business and you're going to open your business and you get worried, I'm not going to make the money or I'm not doing this. Guess what? Again, it doesn't happen overnight, but would you rather make 100% of something, you know what I mean? Or get paid to build somebody else's business? You know what I mean? I'd rather take the money and make a little bit less, you know what I mean, at the beginning. But, and people, and they say to me all the time, they go, oh, well, you're making big money. I'm not making billions of dollars. No, I do okay. You know what I mean? I do pretty well, so, but
you can still eat.
but at the end of the day, so Al, I might not get a check because I'm Brimstone all the time. I don't, I own my businesses. I might not get paid for 3 weeks, but my paycheck in 3 weeks is bigger than people that get in a year. You know what I'm saying? So and I'm not saying that to like show off. I'm saying that because when you work for yourself, people have to understand you're not getting that immediate gratification weekly like you do when you're working at a 9 to 5. When you're working a 9 to 5, the reason why you're getting paid is you're doing someone else's bitch work for them. Okay, and that's okay. Truth. And that's okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? But what do you call it? When you're doing that work, you're working for the other person. Wouldn't you want to work just as hard for yourself? Wouldn't you want to put, and instead of taking a small fraction of the money that's coming in, wouldn't you rather the full amount go into your own pocket? That's so why, you know what I mean? Why wouldn't, because I've seen so many people who start their own business, you know what I mean? They start their own business and then all of a sudden it's like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, it's so much work and I don't have the time and I need to make money. Well, then work harder. You know what I mean? Or, it's a side hustle, but your side hustle is not making the money that you expected it to make right away. Well, then work harder, put in more time. Don't tell me that there's not enough hours in the day and you're tired. Well, screw you, bro. There's 24 hours in the day. If I can find time to do everything I do and still get on a call with you, you know what I'm saying? Like, I still do
agreed.
Then guess what, brother? You can find the time too. There's 24 hours in a day. If you don't sleep, guess what, baby? That's entertainment. That's entrepreneurship. Do it right. And that's all I have to say. And what do you call it? And I love everybody and I respect everything that everybody does. So and if a 9 to 5 is for you, I am all for it. And I love you for it. And if you do your own business and build your own brands, I love you for it. And what do you call it? And either way, I'm appreciative that you're out in the workforce and making something happen. So,
bro,
make your own magic. That's all. I just like people to make their own magic.
I love it. I love your energy, Brimstone, because that's kind of how I live. Like, make it happen. Stop begging, as we spoke earlier of. Stop begging to join the club from your own club and show people how it's done. If they don't accept it, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. Bro, you've been an amazing guest, bro. And I mean, you have fired up my entrepreneurial spirit like 10 times even now. And you don't want Almega fired up because that's dangerous.
That's a good thing.
It's dangerous. I'm gonna scare everybody. So check this out, folks. Right now, you can go ahead and visit Brimstone's website. It's the realbrimstone.com. Now on social though, he's all over. All right. So On Facebook, it's Brimstone.
Yep.
On Twitter, it's The Entrance to Hell. And I love that fucking name. You got to see a poster I made. I actually made a poster of Comic Crusaders Entrance to Hell. So I'll share that with you. And then, of course, Instagram at The Real Brimstone.
Yeah.
And
that's
lastly,
where I'm most active.
And of course, please check out his podcast. Yo, you know, that Real Grindhouse Radio at The Real GH Radio. And of course, if you peeping Comic Crusaders, you love comics. Yep. So check out Hound Comics. Homie since 2010 has done 40 plus creator-owned projects, showing love to the independent market, which is something that we love to support ourselves. Brimstone, thank you for doing that. I mean, at the end of the day, is like, you know, you're giving people an opportunity to showcase their talent. Now, if it makes it, it makes it. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But the door was opened. You did what you did, and let the critics talk their smack, because you know that's what they're going to do. You know, we love to share positivity. You know what? Though, at the end of the day, just do your thing. Do you be the best version of you? Now, Brimstone, before we go, I always love to end with this, because you're a person that has been, in my opinion, a journeyman. You've been everywhere. Again, radio, podcast, wrestling, vidcast. I mean, voice acting. You've done so much. Thank you for even taking a minute to chat with me. But what would you like to leave our listeners with that are also trying to navigate the space? What's the best piece of advice you ever received that you want to share today?
Just respect yourself and respect others. Be good to people. What do you call it? Give back. If you're succeeding, make sure you pay it forward for people who are, you know, still trying to make it. You know, and like I said before, you know, I think I kind of laid it out there. Work twice as hard as the person, you know, that is, you know, doing the same thing. Because if you don't do it, nobody else is going to do it for you. So just bust your ass. Don't take no for an answer. That's about it. And have thick skin, because you're going to get no, you know, slam doors in front of you all the time. You know what I mean? So get thick skin.
So there you go, folks. Yo, this is the big homie Brimstone. So I want to share everything again really quickly before we go. So visit the website, therealbrimstone.com. This is his socials. Facebook as Brimstone. Twitter, Entrance to Hell. Instagram, The Real Brimstone. And of course, check out the podcast, The Real GH Radio. And please check out the comic book publishing press at Hound Comics. If you're an independent publisher, reach out to Brimstone, because you'll definitely make that book happen. Yo, Brim.
The grindhouseradio.com, by the way. Yeah, it's very, you get everything.
Grindhouseradio.com, baby. Yeah. There you go. Grindhouse. I fucking love it. So 70s. All I could hear is the snap, crackle, pop of those 70s movies from back then. I love it. Yo, Brimstone, you've been amazing. I want you to hang out with me 1 minute after the show, because I want to put you onto somebody else that I think would be worthy of your presence. But with that, folks, I want to thank you so much for tuning in today to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I'm Almega. Web para que tú sepa, you know how it goes. Just make sure to visit comiccrusaders.com, undercovercapes.com, and yo, on our YouTube, like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications, all right? And with that, much love. You guys have all been amazing. Yo, bro, Brimstone, fellow New Yorker. Wepa, man, a fellow Boricua. I love it. And with that, hasta la próxima, mi gente. I'll see you at 4:30 or 4 o'clock when I talk to Omar later. Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.com and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.